Please, for the love of God, work.
I don't get that. Yours has come up.
Right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for that technical difficulty then.
Yeah. I've no clue. It was saying on my end it was streaming. I do apologise for that.
Right, who is on a lap? Let's see. Fresh Spider just point at 123.8. Who else is out?
I know Speed has got a qualifying ban, that's why he's not set a lap time.
Gotta get everything set up. Jesus Christ. There we go. So, Dalaman on a lap. And SFR Martin also on a lap. Right, you just do qualifying comms in a moment. Just eat my dinner.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so on board here we've got Abdallah. Again, apologies if I say your name incorrectly, as Scanny goes on provisional pole position with a 1 minute 21.8 there. So that's an absolute flyer of a lap. Again, he's put himself some distance between himself and Preb. As we're coming up to the final few corners for Abdallah. Flat out through the right hand corners, keeping it all in line, keeping it within the curbs, keeping it within the track, using as much curb as you can. Flat out through the second to last corner here, coming up towards the final corner, braking hard at the 50 metre board there, coming round into the final corner, keeping it as far left as you possibly can. DRS will be wide open. Where does this put him? It puts him in P13 still there with a 1 minute 23.1. Who else was on board? Martin. He just completed a lap, so I missed that, unfortunately, as he does a lovely spin there in the gravel. Fresh Spider might be on a lap. Just on board. I think he is charging the battery up there. I think everybody else is coming in and going out. Keiths is just coming up towards the final corner, ready to get himself onto a flyer of a lap here. Keith's doing very well in the championship. I believe he is P2 in the championship. I did sort of a quick look earlier on in the Mercedes, so he's bringing himself up there. So starting a flyer of a lap here, coming through the first couple of corners there, keeping it neat and tidy on those corners. Keeping it flat out there through the rose right hand corners. Nice and neat there through that fast left hander. Going fairly flat out through these couple of corners here, through this little left section, braking hard onto this sort of a hairpin, not quite a hairpin corner, as we come up to finish the first sector. And he has gone a little bit quicker than his last time there, so he is up as we go on to flat out right hand corner section there. Second to last corner again, you can take that flat out, drop it down into 6th gear as you slam down hard on the brakes at the 50-metre board. Coming up to the final corner now, foot flat to the floor, you come up and get DRS again. DRS flap wide open, moves him up into P10 with a 1 minute 22.6. So not that strong of a qualifying. I'm not too sure how well he does qualifying in general. So hopefully he can have a little bit of a better race. I believe he might be trying to charge the battery up again for one last lap. I'm going to jump on board with Ellie as she's getting herself set up for a flying lap. It will be probably your last flying lap here. So DRS wide open, keeping it to the left hand side again of the track, getting ready to swing the car as you brake harsh into turn 1. Clipping the apex there, running it out right to the left hand side. Again, keeping it nice and tight on that left hand corner. Coming up underneath the Rolex bridge. Find you and pick your braking point, drop down a couple of gears. Again, flat out for the right hand section of corners there. Coming into the hairpin, running it out nice to the wide to the right. Coming down, see a couple of guys in traffic there. Hopefully it doesn't affect us too much. Using as much curb as you possibly can there as we come around into this left hand corner. Again, keeping it out into the middle of the track there. A Ferrari moving out of her way as we complete the first sector. Coming up into my favourite sector here. Again, flat out on the right hand side. Hopefully that kick Sauber gets out of the way. They nearly make contact. Second to last corner again, flat out. 6th gear, moving up into 2nd, 7th. Hard on the brakes. Final corner, she's going to get a nice slipstream there from the Alpine. DRS will be wide open. Where does this put her? It keeps her in P8 there. She just misses out on P7 of SFR Martin there. So 1 minute 22.4 there from Ellie. On board with Wiggles now. I think he's just completed, he's invalidated the lap, so that is his qualifying done, unless he can magically fly over to the finish line to start another flying lap, which he won't be able to do. Keith's also on a flying lap. He has a quick sector there. He's currently in P10. Has he got something magic up his sleeve? Again, using as much curb as they possibly can because the curbs are quite wide here. Second to last corner again. Drop it down to 6th gear. Flat out round there. Pick your braking mark here. 50-metre board. Keeping it into the right hand turn there. Using as much curb as you possibly can. DRS wide open. Where does this bring him? It moves him up into P7 there for Keith, and that is his qualifying done. However, Scani again with the fastest lap of the qualifying. That is going to possibly be provisional pole position there. 1 minute 21.6 there for Scani. However, on a flyer of a lap, P3 there with 1 minute 22.0. Can anybody take that pole position from Scani? OWL Prebley, he is not on a flying lap, so that will be his qualifying done. So at the moment, unless anybody else has an absolute flyer of a lap, Scani will be on pole position there as everybody else is coming into the pits. Martin, he's invalidated that lap time as well, so that is his qualifying done as well. So from what I can believe, Scani is on pole position there with 1 minute 21.6, followed by Prebley in P2 with 1 minute 21.9, and Halvor in P3 with a 1 minute 22.0. Energy Dan P4 with 1 minute 22.1. Utkarsh P5 1 minute 22.2. Matty in P6. Stanek in P7. Keith's in P8. Martin in P9. Ellie in P10. Wiggles in P11. Martinger in P12. Abdallah in P13, Fresh Spider in P14, Aria Glass in P15, and Speedy in P16, who did not set a lap time due to his qualifying ban. And we are just waiting for Prebley to get into his pit box.
I am back now. Yeah, so you saying Keith, he is quite strong at qualifying, to be fair. I think
Yeah.
it's just his track. I don't like it either, to be honest.
No, it's sort of a track. It's more of a motorbike track.
Yeah.
Obviously, MotoGP race there all the time. World Superbikes, they used to have their final race of the year there many years ago, and they sort of stopped going there now. So it was more sort of designed for the bikes. So, but yeah, race should be interesting. Hopefully, Keith's can pull something out of the bag. I'm hoping. I believe there was a double McLaren podium last week. So hopefully those guys can get another one and go for a win. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who can come out top and who has their racecraft up their sleeves. I've just forgot. I've got a cornetto and it's pretty much mounted. So I'll be back in a minute. I'm just gonna quickly grab something.
Yep. So as we wait for Energy Dan or Keith's to give the go-ahead, I am going to go through the provisional standings for Drivers' Championship. So we've got Pabelli on 190 points, Energy Dan on 185, Keith's on 178, Mr. Wiggles on 162, Scanny on 157, Halvor on 154, Stank on 142, Ellie on 134, Cassidy on 133, Ronnie on 96, Abdallah on 90, Origlass on 86, Mitch Adair on 84, Speedy on 60.5 points. I don't know how that's possible, but okay. Ukash on 145 points, Matty on 32, Martin on 19, Spider on 11, and Omar Gaming on 9. So with the championship fight between Pabelli, Energy Dan, Keeves, and Mr. Wiggles is quite close. With Pabelli and Energy Dan 5 points separating them. So here's the formation lap where every driver will be warming up their tyres for the official race start. Are you back?
I'm back. It wasn't as nice as I thought it was going to be.
So yeah, as well through the championship standings whilst we were waiting. It's quite close between Pabelli and Energy Dan though. 5 points to separate them.
Yeah, absolutely, and that can all change if someone DNFs or say Probelli wins and then just down
Yeah.
finishes down
But we've
in
also got
P10 or
Keiths in the
something.
championship fight as well. He's not that
Yes.
far off, so.
No, I was going to say he's up there, and I know he has got pace. So yeah, you can't really rule anyone out. You can't even really rule Wiggles out at the
No, you
moment.
can't.
So again, championship, it's anyone's to go for. We are on round 12. Oh, how many rounds?
17.
That's the one. So after tonight, there will only be 5
Who's
more
that boy at
rounds.
that corner angle again? Energy Dan.
Energy Dan. He's wanting to get a cut through on Preb. He's aiming it towards Scanny. Hopefully he's not planning anything dirty there. But yeah, so we are ready and waiting for the lights.
With a shocking camera view again.
Lights out and away we go. Probably gets an absolute flyer of a start there. He's going to be side by side with Scanny. However, Scanny gets that little bit more of a drive. And here comes Halvor round the outside. Is he going to think of taking himself into P2? He does. However, he's still side by side with Probably. Probably is fighting himself back as Scanny keeps himself out of trouble there. And Halvor stays in P3 there, has probably managed to defend himself there, as Abdallah has left the...
Dragging by him again.
Yeah. So that's... Ellie! Is that Ellie? Ellie's gone down. She's gone down the order. She's just had a little bit of contact there with someone, I think. I just seen the McLaren in the background there go flying across. So I don't know whether she had a little bit of contact there with someone. Just unfortunate there for her. Speedy is all over the back of Aria Glass as well. Seems to be making a move on the inside, however it says all over the back end of that RB. However, Speedy just get past him, move himself up into P14. Utkarsh all over the back. He also has energy down all over the back of him. Here comes Utkarsh thinking about making a move onto the inside of Halvor. He doesn't make it stick. However, he's got to be aware that Dan is sniffing the back end of that Ferrari. Don't think Dan's too happy as he did drop down the order a little bit. Scanning goes a little bit wide. Dan's thinking about it. He was going to think about going down the inside there. He doesn't. He thinks better of it. It's only lap 2.
With Energy Dan, he will want to get past Utkarsh and Halvor as quick as possible to take the fight to Probelli, to actually overtake him and chase down for the lead.
He's thinking of that championship now, as there's only 5 rounds to go after tonight. I can't believe we're that far into the championship. Already.
Yeah, it's flown by, to be honest.
Taz, Keith's all over the back of Stank. This is my favourite part of the track. You can go flat out, second last corner, drop down into 6th. Making sure you don't wear those tyres out too much, too far in the beginning of the lap. Probably
Talking about tyres, what is everybody on? So, everybody's on the mediums apart from Abdallah Man and Mitch and D, who are on hard compound tyres. Tyres on this track, I don't know. I don't know which one's going to be best to use.
Yeah, I think they're all, it's sort of a fast flowing track, so they're going to try and get mediums going. And just use them to get the first part of the track done. And then they will probably go medium hards. However, the guys on the hards will get a longer stint in, get a feel for how wow the hards out and use mediums to their advantage towards the end of the race. But again, this track is so physically demanding with all of the corners. You've got the fast right-hander in sector 2. No, sector 3, sorry, my bad. But yeah, it is. That's going to take a lot of wear onto the tyres there. As Utkarsh is again thinking about taking the fight to Halvor. Coming round the final corner, he gets himself nice up and close underneath that rear wing of that Kick Sauber. DRS is going to be wide open. I don't think it's going to be close enough as Wiggles goes past Martin there, up into P9. However, Scanny is all over the back of Prebley now. They're just hoping that someone will make a mistake as Halvor is closing and closing and closing on these top two. He nearly goes into the back of Scanny there. That's so close. But again, these guys just have so much respect for each other and give each other that room.
You can see that energy Dan is getting a bit impatient with Utkarsh in front. He is trying his hardest to overtake.
He just needs to go that little bit faster, doesn't he? He needs to work out where he is. What he needs to do is he just needs to focus on where Utkarsh is faster, as Keith gets a 3-second time penalty there. Yeah, with these first few laps of the race, this is what you kind of need to figure out, where the car in front of you is quicker, where they're making constant mistakes, where you're making mistakes, and try and fix your mistakes to then get yourself in a better position. As here comes Energy Dan, he's going to try and go down the inside of Utkarsh there into turn 1. Utkarsh gives him the room. However, he's not got the run out of turn 1. Utkarsh keeps the inside line. That gives him into turn 2. As Scanny and Halvor have both got prep there. Dan nearly goes into the back of him again.
But we also do have Abdullah Man who's just joined back. So let's hope he can regain control of his car.
As Dan, 3-second time penalty.
That's gonna hurt.
Yeah. This is a track where because the curbs are so wide, you think you can go that little bit wider. As Glass goes for a spin there, I think. Yellow flags down there. I think it's got it back under control. However, but yeah, with some of the curbs, they're just so wide, and you lose track of how wide you can run your car. And yeah.
But Abdelman has got control of his car again, which is a good thing.
Yes, yeah. Here comes Dan, a lot closer on the back of Utkarsh there. Coming out of the final corner, however, Utkarsh just has that bit more pace in him. Halvor goes into P1 there. Oh, does he? He's got the inside line. Scanny's fighting back. He thinks better of it, and he believes that he'll be able to get a better run, which he does. He's going to try and again make the move down the inside of Halvor. McLaren goes side by side with the Sauber, and he does. That is a brilliant move there from Scanny.
Yeah, it is. That corner is quite hard to overtake someone, especially on the inside or outside.
But yeah, that's sequence. That's the word I was looking for earlier. That sequence of corners, it just flows great, and when you can keep the car nice and tight, you haven't got to worry about it drifting out wide.
It's the same with the 3 corners after the sector 2 line. You've got to get that so perfect.
These corners here, all of them, and then the second to last corner, you just drop it down into 6th, and you can just fall flat out. Obviously, depending on what traction control you're running. However, probably again on the back of Halvor. Is he going to think about making a move into turn 1? However, Halvor gets an absolute flyer of a slipstream there as it goes down on the inside of Scanny. Here comes Prebley as well. He's thinking about making a move. However, Scanny again has that outside line that brings him onto the inside. They nearly make contact. Here comes Prebley. Is Prebley going to make a move on both of them as there's contact with himself and Utkar? Again, Halvor makes a move on the inside of Scanny. Utkarsh thinks about making a move, and there's contact. Contact between Utkarsh and Scanny. I'm not too sure. I think Utkarsh wasn't so sure of how close he was to Scanny, and he just drifted out that little bit too wide. And Scanny tried to rejoin the track again. So that's now moved him down into P5, and I believe that would possibly be some sort of incident going towards the stewards for that.
But Energy Dan and Babelli are close to each other now, so they can fight each other. But Energy Dan does also have that 3-second time penalty hanging over his head.
Yeah, he's got to be careful. He doesn't want to make any rash decisions that can cause himself to get any other penalties.
But Keeps and Matty though. Keeps going for the overtake on Matty into turn 1 and gets the move done. Matty thinks better of it and backs out of it.
So Dan, he's got to be careful. He's got another 2 warnings
Mitch and Deer.
Before he gets another time penalty. Yeah, Mitch and Deer gets a 3-second time penalty there, as Utkarsh is again all over the back of Halvor. So things are starting to hot up and stay hot up at the front. That's not really separated that much, to be fair.
No, it really isn't.
Just goes to show how close these guys are race pace wise. Speedy and Fresh Spider are having a battle with each other here. Little tap on the brakes there from Fresh Spider. Speedy having a little bit of a wobble coming up to the final corner. Fresh Spider, 3-second time penalty, just dip those tyres over the white line.
We've got Prep1 saying come on OWI in the chat. Well, don't know who that is. But we've got someone cheering on the OWR guys, which is good.
Oh, yes! I used to race with him.
I'm surprised Keith's wife isn't in the chat at the moment.
Yeah,
she normally is, but you know.
Yeah, I think Prep 1, I believe he's Division 4.
But Energy Dan does overtake Scanny.
Yes, yeah. Scanny trying to make that recovery drive. Yeah, Prep 1 is in the McLaren of Division 4, so I knew I've seen that name somewhere.
Who even is it?
I think it's like...
Oh, we've got someone diving into the pit lanes. We've got Matty.
Matty. He's obviously wanting to get rid of those hard tyres.
The hordes for the rest of the race.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a bit early.
19 laps to go.
It's a risk. Yeah.
It's a gamble, but you might be able to make it work.
Yeah. Here comes Ellie. She's setting up the move on the back of Fresh Spider.
Oh, and Probelli, he's gone for a spin and into the barrier.
Oh,
Ooh.
so that's going to be a yellow flag in sector 2. Wow.
And here's
A little bit of contact
Melissa.
there. A little bit of contact there between Ellie and Fresh Spider.
Yeah,
however,
definitely.
not too bad.
Melissa, penalties on this track will be an issue for most drivers.
Absolutely. It's just who can put the car in the best placement without getting that many penalties. So here comes Ellie, she's setting...
And Speedy picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Setting up the move on Fresh Spider as he dives into the pit lane. Energy down, moves up into P2. Scanny moving into P3, and Halvor all swapping positions there. So Ellie is now up into P10, just over 1 second behind Speedy B. So she is on the comeback drive in which she can, and she will, because I know what a great driver she is. She's determined, and she was online last week and was in a party with her whilst she was doing some practice, and we was taking the mick out of each other, but she knuckles down.
Oh, and Energy Dano was losing the back end of his Mercedes. So he's lost time. Yeah, he has lost some time to Yukosh now.
As Keith is all over the back of Halvor now. But further up the road, Scanny, like you said, Energy down back end of that Mercedes is starting to complain a bit. So Scanny in the McLaren is starting to set up that move. He will have DRS on Dan, as Utkarsh will be under threat from Energy Dan as well, because he will not have the DRS. However, Dan is not close enough, the DRS is not strong enough for him there. However, it brings him that little bit closer as Stank goes into the pit lane now to get rid of those medium tyres. He's on medium tyres, yes, he's now gone onto the hard tyres. So everyone is on 11 lap old mediums, apart from
Abdullah and Mitchell Deer on hard, so they can go down a little bit longer.
Yeah, they can go that little bit longer. Again, I'm terrible with names, I do apologise.
I mean, at first I was terrible with Mitchell Deer and Probelli, but now, you know.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we'll see the front runners dive into the pit lanes to get onto those hard compounded tyres for the rest of the race.
Yeah, they'll be thinking about it, but again, they don't want to pit too early.
Oh,
As you say, here comes Dan. Scanny, yeah, everyone's coming into the pits. Thieves is going that a little bit longer. He's going to try and make the most out of it. As Ellie gets herself up into P3, I don't think she's pitted yet. She's still on those medium tyres. However, I believe she will probably pit in the next lap or so.
But
however, if she did pit when she had that little bit of a spin and she was losing that little bit of time, she probably would have been up there. However, she wouldn't have been on the freshest of tyres. Anyway.
But Energy Dan is still in provisional second when the 5 front runners have decided to pit. As I know, he won't be. Because you've got Madrid Deer and Abdullah Man on hards, but on 12 lap old.
Yeah. So they'll be coming through the pack later on. Zoriaglass is dropped. He's gone wide there. I think his medium tyres are done. He's keeping to the right hand side. I think he's just keeping out of everybody's way, which is fair play to him. He knows when people are faster.
He's going slow. I don't see any.
No,
But Ellie and Keeves have come into the pit lane.
Yeah. So let's see what their pit crews can do.
Well, he's allowed you to the Div 3 group chat quickly.
Woo. That was close. Speedy and Ellie nearly had contact as Ellie was coming out of the pits, but Speedy was coming across that line there.
Right, you should be added. Yep, you're added to Div 3.
Beautiful.
So I'll switch over to that party for driver interviews at the end of the race.
Yeah, no worries.
Makes it 10 times easier than looking for the 3 people.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I didn't think of that. As Martin comes into the pit lane from the provisional lead.
And you'd catch with a 3-second time penalty.
See, this is where it couldn't be won and lost, because everybody is so close together, and if you get a 3-second time penalty or anything more than that, your race could be over.
So let's have a look at the penalties so far. So we've got Mitrin Day, Energy Dan, Udkosh, Keith Salvor, Speedy, Spider and Pabelli all on 3 seconds.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
So Scotty could have a chance to win this race if he doesn't get a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If he keeps it clean, and catches up to the back of Energy Dan, then he could have a good chance. Oh yeah.
But if Energy Dan wants to win this race,
He's got to push
he has to push and get away from Yukosh and Scanny. Because you've got Pabelli all the way down in 14th, plus a 3-second time penalty. So this could be good for Energy Dan for the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, unfortunately there for Pabelli, he was up there at the beginning of the race, and then
Scanny,
he decided...
Look at that and move on Yukosh.
Yeah, he decided he was going to go for a spin. It didn't work out for him.
No.
Oh dear me.
Yeah, I would be like that at the moment.
Trying to get my head round why the suspension isn't working on the bike today was doing me absolute head in. But yeah, Wiggles is all over the back of Stank. They're having a nice little battle there. Neither of them have got penalties, so it is literally a battle book for positions there at this point in time. So Wiggles was originally in Division 4 last season. I had the pleasure of racing alongside him as he closes right up onto the back of that Stake there. Kick Stake Sauber. I knew what I wanted to say, but my words would not come out of my mouth. However, he just close up. He loses time.
And Dalaman coming into the pit lane to go. Ooh, he slammed on the brakes and did a half spin on the pit lane entry.
Wiggles with a 3-second time penalty has got himself set up nicely to move up into P10 on Stank. Unfortunate there for him. However, Ellie sets another fastest lap of the race. And she has got some traffic in front of her. She's going to try and make the move down on the inside of Speedy. There's a little bit of contact. Let's push her onto the outside. She thinks better of it, and she's going to let these guys in front of her battle and wait for someone else to make a mistake. She can possibly make up 4 positions here, which will do nicely. She goes into back of Speedy there. I think Speedy misjudged where he was going to break there from Stank. And unfortunately for Ellie, however, she doesn't have any ring damage, so should be okay. As she gets a 3-second time penalty, Speedy and Stank battling with each other. Someone's going to make a move soon, surely.
Well, they might just be a bit too scared with these penalties and how quick he can pick them up.
Yeah. Doesn't take long to go over the white lines a couple of times. Next thing you know, you get a penalty.
So Energy Dan into the lead, but Scotty in provisional first. Wait, how does... what happened?
Scanny's got done. What happened there?
What?
Scanny's ahead of Dan. So Scanny is provisionally in the lead of the race. So he's all over the back of Upkarsh. How did I miss that? When did that happen?
No, I was actually watching and it just looked like Energy Dan just slowed down.
Okay. Alright then, I was just watching this battle of Speedy and Stank unfold, and next thing I know, I've seen Scanny go up above Energy Dan. So, yeah, that's possibly another win on the cards for Scanny. Did he win last race? I can't remember.
I can't find if he did or not.
Anyway, Scanny all over the back of Upkarsh now. We've seen my favourite sector of corners, fast right hand corners, as you can drop it down into 6th gear on the second to last corner, foot flat to the floor again, as we have a yellow flag that is for there. The Haas driver down in P19 of Mittinger. Oh yeah, I apologise, my name pronunciation is not the best. As Scanny moves up into first place, however the Ferrari of Upkarsh is not giving up. Energy Dan is again making sure that if anybody there makes a mistake, he's going to be there to grab that position back, as we are on lap 19 of 29. This race has gone so quick. As however, with a 3-second time penalty there.
Right.
Energy Dan.
Give me a couple of minutes.
No worries. Energy Dan is getting a move set up, ready to go for himself, as Ellie's dropping down the order there. She is going for the overtake on Stank. Thinking about making a move on the inside, she gets pushed right off of the curbs there. And that might have been a warning for her as well, as the two Saubers are working together. However, she's getting a little bit frustrated there. She wants to make the move. She gets a better run there out of that corner, as she's all over the back of Stank in that Stake Sauber. Gets a nice run round on these right hand corners, going flat out as Halvor goes on the outside there. So that has moved her up into P10, as she's again all over the back of Stank. She will have the DRS as we come down back straight. Can she get herself close enough to make the most of that DRS? Which she does. Foot flat to the floor now, all over the back of that Sauber. DRS will be wide open as she goes easily down the outside and moves herself up into P9. Next stop is Wiggles in P8, in which she can hopefully easily catch up, as both Wiggles and Speedy have 3-second time penalties. So these are again a fight for each other. So these penalties will equal out, and it will be whoever finishes ahead of each other will get that position, as Martin gets the overtake complete on Energy Dan, so Energy Dan is now dropping down the order a little bit. Whether his tyres are starting to go, excuse me, I'm not too sure. As Halvor is struggling in that little bit, I think again everyone's just starting to struggle with tyre management because there is so much stress and strain put on these tyres around this circuit. Tyre wear will be tremendous as Martin now gets a 3-second time penalty. So everybody apart from Matty, Stank, Abdalman and Auriaglass all have penalties. So at this point in time, our Scani doesn't have a penalty either, sorry. Everyone at this time who has got a penalty, whoever finishes ahead of the person, they will have that position. Scania gets overtaken by Utkarsh. However, he won't be too fussed about that because he knows Utkarsh has got a 3-second time penalty. He's just got to focus on keeping his laps clean and focus on getting that position back. Energy Dan with another 3-second time penalty, so that is his race for first place. And on the podium, done as he now has 6 seconds of time penalties there. Himself and Halvor all have 6 seconds of penalties. Martin with a nice last sector there, foot flat to the floor, hard braking at the 50. Nearly into the back of the McLaren of Scani. Is going to get a nice drive out of the final corner. Both of them do, but who is going to come out on top into the first corner? He's going to go down the inside. Is he going to get both of them? Who's going to come out in first? It's going to be Martin. Martin with the move, 2 for the price of 1. Moves himself up in first place. Here comes Scani. Scani's going to try and make the move, come back. As we have Energy Dan and Keith bring themselves back into this battle. Scani's going to try and make a move back down onto the inside of Martin to get that position back. Don't think he can, as Keith gets a 3-second time penalty there. So the battle for first place is hot enough, and Scani has a little bit of a flick there. Car complaining as he goes on the throttle that a little bit too early or too much there. Here comes Keith, all over the back of Energy Dan. He's getting himself set up through these sequences of right-handers. Drop it down in 6th gear into the second to the last corner. He's going to try and make sure that he can get the best possible drive he can out of the final corner. Halvor with another 3-second time penalty. That puts him on 9 seconds now. Then Dan pulls away that little bit more from Keith's. Scani moves back up into first place, making sure that he puts the park on that position. Martin runs that a little bit wide, but brings Utkarsh back into play for this battle. Early now all over the back of that Ferrari of Wiggles.
But with Sky though, he doesn't have to fight this.
No,
everybody behind him has either got a 3-second time penalty or 6.
Or in Howell's case, unfortunately, 9 seconds. But no, Scani doesn't have to fight this. He doesn't have to fight it at all, as I can see Keith's getting closer and closer to Energy Dan. It's way past my bedtime. I'm not used to commentating this late. Yes. Utkarsh is thinking about making the move. Here comes Martin. He'll make
Ooh,
a dive bomb on the inside. There's contact, which pushes Scanny out wide. A little bit naughty there from Martin as he thinks about doing a move again. I think someone's getting a little bit impatient and wants to get the win out on track. However, it will be demoted back down into P2 with the penalties. However, he won't be getting anywhere near the podium if he takes himself out. So he's just got to try and keep within that DRS zone of scanning and use himself to pull away as Wiggles gets another 3-second time penalty. So that is his race done. That would be P 12, possibly 4. Trying to work it all out because they're all so close together still.
it's too late. It's too late at night for mental maths.
Yeah. I had the little cogs in the steam starting to come out of my ears. Wiggles and Early having a little battle there. Wiggles has the DRS. Ellie's going to try and defend that line. However, she gets a nice switchback move there on Wiggles. She's going to try and keep it round the outside of him, in which she does. She's going to have the inside line for this next set of corners. And I think she has got the move done as long as she can keep the inside line, in which she does. Here comes Speedy. Speedy tries to make a move on the inside of Wiggles as well. He does not get that move done, unfortunately. Ellie is a little bit vulnerable because she doesn't have DRS, and there is a big pack of wolves hunting her down and waiting for that mistake.
Oh, and also we could actually see Matty on the podium.
Yeah, we could. Yeah,
Yeah.
we could. Could definitely see Matty on the podium. Oh, as that Speedy and Wiggles. Speedy and Wiggles both lose it on that sequence of right-hand corners, the fast right-hand corners. I think it was just the tyres. Tyres are complaining now. Hard tyres are starting to lose their edge that little bit more now, which gives Ellie that little bit more breathing space.
The thing is, though, I thought Abdallah and Medjugorje would be pushing a lot harder than they are now.
Yes.
They're on mediums, the faster compound and hards.
Again, unless they pushed a little bit too hard on the beginning of their stint. Not too sure. Or they sort of figured out they can't really do much more with their penalties.
But Sky, though, he is increasing the gap to Martin ever so slightly each lap.
He's nearly out of that 1 second now.
He is now.
Out of that 1 second. He isn't now. He is. I love it. Matty.
Oh.
3-second time. He could have had a podium. Still up for grabs.
Now, who can we actually see on the podium? Obviously Scanny, but...
Scanny, AF. Could be anyone at this point because they're so close together and they know they've all got penalties. It can't be. Keiths won't get one. Energy Dan can't get one. It could be anyone who's not got a 6-second time penalty. It could be anybody's podium.
It could be Argas's podium for all we know.
I was going to say, you never know. There could be a massive car pile-up on the final corner of the final lap, and Argas comes through and comes in second.
Let's not say that, because then it might happen.
be interesting, but no, I don't wish anything that horrific to happen to anybody.
But Sky though,
But
he's pushed his gap to 1.3, so he's
been looking
chilling
after
in
those
front.
tyres. He's been looking after those tyres, and he knows what he's got to do. Oh. However, Martin is responding to that gap.
Yeah, I think Scanny has made a mistake somewhere, but I've not seen one.
Yeah, he was 1.3, he's now 0.7. So here comes, oh gosh, on the inside of Martin. He's just like a see you later on taking that as Ellie loses a couple of positions there. A little bit of contact between herself, Speedy, and Prebley. However, she's managed to keep herself in front.
I want this track tomorrow. This is going to be fun.
You're going to love it. I tried it and then my shoulder is just like,
I'm gonna be in the Williams in the place of Oliver Day.
Ah, we're gonna be making sure we put all the coverage on you.
No, please don't.
I'm gonna speak to Jamie. Gotta make sure we have all the coverage on that Williams car of Tiger.
So here we go, around the last corner to start the final lap of this race. It's anyone's race to be won, well apart from Scanny, but second and third is up for grabs for anyone at this point.
I was gonna say it can be anyone's game at this point in time. If they've got DRS, then they've got a good chance. Here comes Prebley on the inside of Ellie. He's got the DRS. He's made the move stick. However, he runs a little bit wide. Here comes Ellie again. She's gonna try and get that position back. She gets a lovely drive out of turn 2 there, coming up into turn 3, coming down into that hard braking zone onto this right-hand hairpin. No, I'm looking at the wrong bit of the track. It's a left-hand hairpin as we come down now. Nice and tight. She's keeping as close to that Haas car as she can. Trying to get herself back up into P7.
Get the message ready to say drive interviews.
A little bit too far back. However, hands down to this man coming round the final corner in the McLaren. Scanny with a faultless race wins the Qatar Grand Prix, as we have Utkarsh and Martin who will be joining him on the podium in P2 and P3. Massey into P4, Keiths in P5, Energy down in P6, Prebley in P7. Ellie just misses out on that place, who goes into P8. Stank in P9, Speedy DNS just before the finish line. I have no clue what happened there. Stank in P9, Abdalaman in P10, Mr. Wiggles in P11. Ah, Tiger, remind me of his name. I'm so bad.
Which one?
Mitrandir, that's the one. There we go. It took me to the end of the night. Mitrandir, Fresh Spider in P13, Halvor in P14, and I believe Aria Glass would be in P15 because Speedy DNF'd. So he will be in P16, which brings us to the end of the Qatar Grand Prix.
Yep, right, I'm going to start Div 3 party with drive interviews.
I will join you there. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Are the other two joining or not? There we go, it's Martin.
Hi guys.
Yeah, he is.
How you doing there, Cash? Good race, bud.
And here's Scanny, the race winner.
Hey.
Who's got it?
Oh,
Alright, Simo, who do you want to start with first?
I think we'll start with P3 of. I've got the order already. Oh, I'm so bad. Martin P3?
mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Hey, you got a podium though. So yeah, Martin P3. Congratulations on the podium. How did that sort of feel for you today?
Yeah, I can't complain with the podium really. Yeah, it felt good. I'm just happy that I lasted the race. I've had a lot of issues with my wheel for the past 6 months, so I still have the issues, so I'm just trying to continue driving through them. So yeah, it was really tricky. Track limits were a problem.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I lost my feedback in the first stint, so I was driving without feedback for the entire second stint. So when I was getting into the corners, I couldn't feel when the car's tires were gripping and when they weren't. So yeah, I was just trying to like don't drop to 6 seconds, keep it at 3 seconds, and try and get a podium. That was the aim, really. I
Yeah.
did have a little go and overtake the guys and take the lead to see if I could do anything.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was on fresher tyres, but yeah, the guys were just too quick. Scanny in particular, I think he pulled out of the DRS from me at one point. So yeah, congratulations to those guys as well. They were fantastic.
Yeah. And obviously we've got Canada next. How do you sort of feel about Canada? What's your sort of expectations and confidence going into this one?
Yeah, I've no expectations at all for any races at the moment until I can get my wheel updated and fixed.
Yeah.
So I'm just taking every race as it comes. I'm not even practicing at the moment, so because there's no point.
Yeah.
So yeah, until that's resolved, I'm just racing for the fun of it, really, for the love of racing F1. That's all I'm doing it for. And if I get to get up there and have a battle at the same time, then great.
Yeah. So, Tiger, any questions for Martin?
Were you... Excuse me. Alright. Were you expecting to get a podium tonight?
No. Well, it's hard to say. So before the quali session, I did a 20.1 or a 20.0 or something like that. But in quali, I only did a 20.4 and I was way down the grid compared to where my pace was. So I thought there was a couple of opportunities to get up the grid. But yeah, you don't know if you can get a podium or not. I kind of thought Scanny would run away with it, or the two guys at the front. But I think once we got to the end of the first stint, I kind of knew I could see the guys in front of me struggling with tyre wear and things like that, and their pace was dropping. And I kind of knew that's why I went long on my first stint because I knew I could put in a couple of quick laps before pitting and try and come out in the fresher tyre to give me an advantage. So I knew I could come up a few places, but yeah, the podium came really quick. I went from like P7 to like P3 really quickly. So I don't know if there was a bit of fighting going on in the midfield while I was out front or what. I really don't know. And the guys maybe lost some time. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it tonight.
That's good to hear.
Beautiful. Well, congratulations again for the P3 there, Martin.
Thanks, guys, and thanks for the commentary tonight.
Yeah, it's been great. I would have had the stream up sooner, but for some reason my side wasn't working, so I had to get Tiger to the rescue.
Yeah, I literally sprint upstairs after warming up my dinner after work.
Yeah. So,
Good
moving
hustle,
on to...
Tiger. Good hustle.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
No worries, thank you. So, moving on to P2, but Karsh, congratulations on that P2 for the podium. Again, how did it feel for you, and was this where you were sort of hoping to be? Obviously you had the pace and that's tonight, but yeah, how did it feel for you?
Yeah, thank you guys. So I think this is one of my strongest tracks. So I was hoping to be up there. I mean, I qualified in P5, but then in my last run I was 2 tenths up on my first sector and then screwed up in the middle sector. Otherwise, would have been around P3, I think. But I'm very happy with the podium. I was just sitting behind, waiting for others to make some mistakes or go into battles, and that is how it happened ultimately. My hard stint was pretty bad. As soon as I came out of the pits, I just didn't feel any grip, and that is when I got my final penalty as well. Otherwise, would have given Scanny a little bit of a challenge. But I think naturally Scanny might be one of the fastest drivers in the division. He was, I think, 5 or 6 tenths faster in the quali itself. So I knew that it's going to be a challenge catching up to him or even trying to pass him. Plus, in this game, the DRS train, and it's very difficult to pull away even if you're ahead. So, yeah, overall, very happy with the podium. I mean, would have been the only track where I could have, realistically targeted a podium. So happy to score a podium here.
Yeah, and obviously, again, we've got Canada next week. How are you sort of feeling for that? Is that sort of another strong track for you, or?
No, it's not at all. I mean, I think I'll be happy if I am able to finish in midfield. Not a strong track at all. Similar to, I think, Brazil, where so last week was Brazil, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, Japan.
Suzuka.
Japan, yeah. So
Yeah.
Japan was again a mixed bag for me. People up front made some mistakes, so I ended up scoring a P4. But Canada, I have very low hopes. They're not a very strong track for me. Just will try to finish the race. But I'm just happy back to be in Division 3. I mean, earlier I used to race in Division 2 and was finishing P18, P19 there. So thanks to the admins for making that move. Feeling more at home here.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll catch you again on the podium next week. And Tiger, any questions for Akash?
Well, can't think of any, so.
Can't think of any.
Thank you guys. Thank you for covering this, for commentating, and especially to Simo for jumping in with Tiger.
I mean, I think
Since
it's
all
going to
these
be
were-
on a permanent basis, to be honest.
I think it is, to be fair. Yeah.
Nice one. Nice
I'm
one,
no
guys.
longer racing. So, yeah, no, congratulations again on the P2. So, we're going to move on to the race winner in the McLaren. Scanny, congratulations on your race win there, buddy. How was that for you today?
Yeah, great to finally convert pole into a victory. Believe I got more poles than podiums. So.
Yeah, you're quick, mate. You're really quick.
Yeah, yeah. I think I just got the win because I saved my tires in the DRS train a lot.
Yeah, I was going to
But
say, yeah, we sort of saw you saved it, and we're seeing at that one point you had that 1.3 between yourself and Martin, and then that sort of kept going backwards and forwards with each other. So I sort of saw that you were saving your tyres and that. So
Hmm. Yeah, Martin was really quick as well. Like at one point he was just overtaking everyone, and I was so scared because he was for a long time the other person without a penalty. I was really scared he had the pace to overtake me as well, but I think his tires just fell off in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got too nervous. It was nerves. I got too nervous.
So yeah, no, congratulations again, mate. Obviously Canada next week as well. What's your sort of thoughts for the track, and are you hoping to be on the podium and get another win again, or how were you sort of preparing for this one?
I haven't driven the track on this game yet, but
Right.
yeah, it might be a good track for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It's one of them.
Time
isn't it?
will
It's
tell.
Yeah.
exactly that. And Tiger, any questions for Scanny?
I've got to ask, do you know what happened to Reggie Dan? Because he was in front of you and you, Gosh, and then 1 second later, you both overtake him.
I think we just overtook him on the straight.
'Cause
Maybe he was a
Probably
non when he
has,
exited the last corner or something.
maybe, who knows?
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth. I mean, we'll have to watch the stream again to see where and how we overtook each other. Because I think I remember, was it you, Scanny, or someone who again lost the rear coming out of the last corner, and then I overtook. I
Oh
think
yeah,
it
that
was
was
you
me.
only.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was me.
A
Yeah, it
lot of
was
that
really
was
low on
happening.
wings. So that
What
corner
wings were
just
you running?
40, 42.
Whoa! Wow! That's
Forty,
So
crazy.
that's why I was able to defend from Martin that well, because there were like 4 laps in a row where he was within DRS, but he couldn't overtake me.
That is really low wings for Qatar. I don't know how you're driving the car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
just thought I had to
50,
go.
49.
Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll do it for Div 3 tonight. You will see me and Simo on Div 3 commentary on a permanent basis now, which will be quite nice.
Yeah.
And then we've got Div 2 tomorrow, 7 on Qatar, and then Wednesday we've got Div 1 on Qatar as well. Tomorrow's going to be covered by Jamie and Simo, if Simo can make it. And
We'll soon find out.
Wednesday's covered by Jamie and Mansell, if Mansell can make it as well.
Yeah.
But yep,
Yeah.
I'll do it. Yep.
So, yeah, no, looking forward to it. So